What is going on, everybody? I'm back today to talk about a movie that, to be quite honest with you, I was not intentionally intending to see. But curiosity kind of got the best of me when I saw the way people were discussing it. And more than anything, I think I was just curious because when I was younger, I'm going to be talking about the newest iteration of Scary Movie. And when I was younger, I watched all the Scary Movies. And funny enough, at my age, Scary Movie 3 and 4, I actually rewatched those movies quite a bit when I was younger. And what I will say is those movies, they're incredibly stupid. Some of the jokes are very outdated, but one of the things that I would say about the original is there was at least some attempt to be clever. And some moments that I feel like the comedic bits and the timing were just executed in a way that really worked. The movies aren't perfect by any means. Definitely, like on rewatch, as I get older, they seem to get worse. And then those obviously spawned a ton of parody films, which are just unwatchable garbage, like Epic Movie and Date Movie and Disaster. They just get worse and worse and worse, where I felt like those movies were less about creating genuine comedy and just trying to point out as many pop culture references as they could point out in a singular film. And so I was curious because I know the Wayans came back for this movie. A lot of the original cast members were coming back to do cameos and things of that nature. I was curious if they were going to try to replicate the tone of the earlier films or if it was going to fall into the latter, where it's going to feel like one of those date movie disaster movies and just be a complete and total train wreck. And I'm going to tell you about it today. So I'm not doing this review like I normally do, where I'll give you a rundown of the movie and talk about characters and things of that nature, because it genuinely doesn't matter. This is, without a doubt, the worst movie I've watched this year. Possibly the worst movie I've watched in a couple of years. This is not a movie. The thing that frustrates me about this, what I said about the original films and even like the third and fourth movie, there were comedic setups. Like one of the things I think about all the time in Scary Movie 3 was the one of the characters' kids that kept getting hurt in these really extreme ways. And the timing of it was always really great. And how they incorporated it into the movie and the payoff and all of those things. There were always moments in those movies that I felt like the actual comedic aspects were focused on in a way that worked. This is legitimately how many pop culture references can we fit into an hour and a half and not focused on the humor or anything. One of the things that I thought was really grating and irritating about this movie is like the marketing campaign was, you're never going to believe the type of humor we're going to put in this movie. Like, we're going to offend you. Essentially, like saying that, you know, there's this huge argument going on right now that comedy can't be funny anymore because you can't joke about anything. And one of the things that really kind of took me by surprise is how tame this movie was. Like any sort of, even like the jokes where they felt like they were trying to poke at societal issues that people just don't talk about and joke about right now. They just didn't do it in a way that was creative or funny or interesting. I was really happy to see a lot of the old cast back in this movie, but they were given absolutely nothing to do. Like even Anna Faris, like I loved her in the original Scary Movies because she's just so brash and absurd, and like I feel like her style fits so perfectly into the movie. Even like Regina Hall, who was one of my favorite parts of the original Scary Movie, they didn't give her a whole lot to do in this. And it was really frustrating because she provided a lot to the older Scary Movies. I feel like her delivery and like her physical brand of comedy was something that I always appreciated. And they tried in little moments in this to give her bits and pieces of things to do, but not enough for me to care. And that's, I guess, the biggest thing I would say about this movie. There's nothing to care about. The characters are all really vapid and uninteresting. Even like in the original Scary Movies, where it's less about writing realistic characters and more about giving you these exaggerated caricatures that are meant to be symbolic of horror films, that just doesn't exist in this. Like none of the characters, there's one little bit with one of the girls that I found to be sort of funny, that they kept going back to it and repeating the gag. And it was one of the very rare moments in the film that I found myself actually laughing. But by the end of the movie, like when you're getting all these cameos cameos and these references to things in pop culture, it just amounts to absolutely nothing. And all I could think about was, in 15 years, this movie is going to be so incredibly dated in a way that people just will not care about it. Because one of the things I'll say about the original Scary movies, there are pop culture references in those, but they still hold up in one way or another because of the way they tie themselves into horror and how it exists at that moment in culture. This movie doesn't have any of that. I feel like it's really just miserable. It's cringe-inducing misery with really horrible performances. I feel like outside of some of the original cast members, and the Tiana Taylor bit at the beginning, which I just think she's really great, and I enjoyed the moment that she was in the movie at the beginning of the film. The rest of it is just horrible. Every single aspect of it. And I'm disappointed because I wanted to like this movie. I have so much sentimental value towards a lot of the originals and like how funny they were to me when I was growing up and just like how much I would reference a lot of them. And this movie, it just is bucketed into like the epic movie or the date movies or one of those where it just feels like slop. It just felt like they were trying to incorporate as many references as they possibly could in an hour and a half without actually thinking about the humor aspect of the movie, which is what made the originals so incredibly funny. Like, I just kept thinking of that scene with Regina Hall with the girl from The Ring, and I think it was the third movie when she comes out of the TV and she beats the crap out of her. Like little stupid stuff like that just works well because of the timing, but also in those movies, they'll have moments that are built to feel like an actual scary movie where it feels like a horror moment that then gets completely turned on its head to be funny. This didn't have that either. There wasn't enough moments where they were trying to build genuine horror and then flip it on its head to be funny. And I think that's another thing about the original Scary movies that I enjoyed so much, was they would try that more often than not. And yeah, this is just complete and utter trash. There is no reason for you to waste your time on it. I doubt there will be anything I watch this year that's worse than this. So have you seen Scary Movie? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. This movie is horrible. I don't have anything positive to say about it. Skip it at all costs. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.